Hello everyone. Next we have a talk on running Debian on a Chromebook by a very special person, Kapil. Kapil is a Debian developer in the past who resigned in 2010 due to burden of non-force work. Worked with Force since 1991, with GNU Linux from 1992 to 93, and in non-force work, Kapil is a professor of mathematics. Worked in TFR Mumbai, ISI Bangalore, IMSC Chennai, and ISER Mohali. So, from Professor Kapil's Wikipedia page, I have found the fact that Professor Kapil is a recipient of Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar Prize for Science and Technology, which is the highest science award in India, and that too in mathematics. So, very excited to listen to the talk on Debian on a Chromebook, which is 33 minutes. And after that, we'll come back to Professor Kapil for questions for the next 12 minutes.
Let me begin by thanking the organizers of Mini DebConf India 2021 for giving me this opportunity to give a talk on Debian on a Chromebook. And I also would like to thank all of the people who are sharing this session and coming and listening to whatever I have to say. So to begin with, let me say what is a Chromebook. A Chromebook is a laptop type device with a locked version of GNU Linux pre-installed. From the point of view of a hacker, there are some big negatives. All interaction happens by default through the non-free version of the Chrome browser and its extensions. And you must have a Google account to use it in this way. On the other hand, there are also some positives. So one of the positives is that there is a source repository, except for some firmware blobs required for some hardware, and build instructions for the operating system. And there are documented ways to unlock the system and to run your own OS on it. So it's a pretty hackable OS from system from some point of view, but of course you have to follow some instructions to unlock the system. And in this way, I sometimes feel that it is slightly better than how Android used to be, and maybe that's how Android should be. So what is my personal experience? Well, I've used Debian forever on various computers and laptops. And until 2016, I was using Debian on a netbook, and then I had to give up that netbook for some reason. And so I started looking for a netbook and found Asus Chromebook Flip C100PA, which is a small device. It was a nice netbook, and I wanted to run Debian on it because that's the OS that I'm used to, and since I knew that Chrome OS is a version of GNU Linux, I thought that's a good start. Now, Google has provided a way to run Debian inside Chrome OS called Crostini. It is good, but it's not quite good enough for my work. Moreover, it was introduced only in 2018, and so at the time when I bought the Chromebook, certainly it wasn't available. And in fact, it was, even when it became available, it was not available on certain older devices like the Chromebook Flip C100PA. So that's not a solution which I can look at. So what is the way I went about it? So the first thing is that you can unlock the Chromebook. You can do what is called enable developer mode on a Chromebook. So there's a well-documented way on how to do this. And on the C100PA and on most recent Chromebooks, you power off the machine, and then you hold escape and refresh while pressing power on, and you release power on, and then you get a recovery screen. And on the recovery screen, you hit a Control D, and of course you need to hit Control D on every boot after that, unless you make some changes which are not possible on ARM-based Chromebooks, but on some Intel-based Chromebooks you can actually change the firmware and things like that. In any case, this Control D is a small pain for a lot of gain because you can run Debian on it, right? The warning is that if these are not the first steps you take, then be aware that all files saved by you will be wiped out if you do this, as the Chromebook will clear its internal storage when you go to developer mode. So you must save all your files on your own before you do this. Now, in these days of secure boot, it is possible to lock yourself out of the machine. So it's a good idea to record some way to get back in case you get really badly stuck. And with the Chromebook, you can do this. So Google has a list of recovery URLs, and you can download the recovery and write it on a spare unused USB drive with DD. And you can also do this from a different computer if you have one at any time. I didn't have another computer, so I did it at the time when I started experimenting, before I started experimenting with my computer. And I also checked it, and you can check that it works by pressing space instead of Control D at the developer boot screen. After you have plugged in the USB and booted the system, when you come to Control D, you press space, and then again it will come to the recovery screen, and at that point you can go and recover it from the USB drive. Again, there's a warning: this will wipe out all the data on your drive, on the internal drives, and so you should make sure that you don't you save all your files before you do this. Okay, right. So what are the first steps you need to do in developer mode? Well, in developer mode, first thing is you don't actually need to use a Google account. So what you can do is you type Control-Alt search forward key combination, so 4-fingered combination, and this will take you to a login screen. So note that search is where the caps lock key usually is, so it's and used along with the top row, this becomes the function keys. So this is more like Control-Alt F2, and since you're running GNU Linux, Control-Alt F2 is actually TTY2, and where there's an ordinary login screen. And if you do this in developer mode, you can log in as root without a password. And of course, the first thing you should do is to set a password by running Chrome OS set dev password, to set a password for Chrome OS, which is the default user account, and disable root login without it. That happens automatically as soon as you set a developer password. Right. There are some standard GNU Linux programs available once you log in at the terminal, but it is limited, and of course it's command line only at that point. And you can install some more programs by running su do dev install, which will go onto the net and pull down some programs to install, right? However, it's not Debian, so that's a disadvantage. And the other thing is that, in fact, it's some limited version of Gentoo, and so you may or may not be happy with it. Certainly, even if you're a Gentoo user, you may not be happy because it's a very limited version of Gentoo. Right. So, on the other hand, what you can do is that in developer mode, you can install David Schneider's excellent Crouton, which is chroot using dbootstrap. Okay. So the following command downloads Crouton onto your local machine, and then you can install it into user local bin, and then you can run it. Okay, and you can get help on it, and you can run it to install Debian. So basically, it uses dbootstrap, and you can install Buster, say, in a chroot called test by running the command shown on the screen. Right. At this point, this will of course take some time because it depends on the network connectivity and things like that. And then you can enter the chroot by doing enter chroot with the test is the name of the chroot, and Buster of course is the release, and you can try Bullseye. Bullseye also works. And T-core means that you just install the core utilities for Crouton. You can have more complicated things. So Crouton -h will give you lots of options for installing various advanced things with Crouton. Okay. Of course, when you're bored, you can delete the chroot, or you can rename it, and you can do various things with it. Okay. So this is a very nice way to use Debian on your Chromebook. In fact, if you use, you can install X and you can use X version. So it's actually quite a complete usage of Debian on the Chromebook with certain limitations. So let's come to the limitations. While you can install a graphical environment, if you don't like CLI, and details are there on Crouton pages, you can also, if you don't mind using your Google account, then you can log into your Chromebook as usual by going back to the main screen with Control-Alt-Search backward, and which is like Control-Alt F1, and then you can log into your Chromebook with the Google account and use Crouton. And if you do it that way, then you can have Crouton and Chrome OS Windows side by side. So there's an extension written by David Schneider called Xiwi, Xiwi, and with this extension you can run Chrome OS and Crouton Windows side by side. So you can use Debian along with Chrome OS if you want to do this. There's a more modern approach avoiding Xiwi, and that is to use a nested Wayland compositor, Sommelier, which has been written by Google to support their version of Debian, which is called Crostini. And that actually can be installed on Crouton as well. And it works, and you can use a Wayland compositor. So note that Chrome OS uses a kind of Wayland style compositor internally. Okay. So yeah, so where are we? Of course, this so you can get a full version of Debian running for lots of purposes, and you may not really see a need to do more than this. However, this does have some negatives, and one is that you can't change the kernel or add modules to it because it is being booted through a version of Secure Boot, which Chrome OS calls Verified Boot. And you also may not want to run the monster called Chrome browser, even if you don't use it. After all, it's just going to take up a lot of your RAM, right? And since the internal drives are typically solid-state drives, you don't want to run swap there. Though the Chrome OS has a ZRAM, and so you can expand a little bit the amount of memory available, but still Chrome browser is a well-known memory hog. And finally, of course, the most important thing, you may want to completely take ownership of your machine, so you don't want to have anything running on it which you have not put it there yourself, right? So the Chrome OS which has been installed by the manufacturer and Google, and you may not want to run it. So regarding this last point and why it matters, other than philosophical reasons, your Chrome OS will get updates. So the Chromebook will get Chrome OS updates essentially every few weeks, 6 weeks or so. Every time a new version of Chrome is released, usually there's a new version of Chrome OS. But this update stop at a Google controlled date called auto update expiry, and typically this happens nowadays, I think, about 6 years after the initial release of the device. Okay, so in the case of the other thing is that some such updates can sometimes disturb or even break your chroot, and that's a bit unpleasant, right? So in my case, there were two issues. First is that the C100PA reached AUE, no more updates, in June last year. And so I wanted to get things rolling with Debian completely independently of Chrome OS before that date. Unfortunately, the pandemic came in the way and I didn't have good network connectivity, so I had to do it a little later. But in any case, it was a date which was there in the back of my mind when I do have to start compiling or installing Debian on my own. Okay, there's no other way also to create VMs or lightweight containers inside Crouton because the Chrome OS uses Upstart and not systemd, and also some other options required for LXC and Snapd and all those new buzzword compliant containers require features which are not compiled into the kernel in Chrome OS by default. So when they do it for Crostini, they actually have a different version of the kernel, and that is only on the new devices. Okay, so these are two reasons why I wanted to go further than just install Crouton and work with that. So the following steps to replace Chrome OS with Debian, including the kernel, I carried out using Crouton. So Crouton is there as a way to build the kernel, etc., and to have a system running. And then the idea is to build a kernel and a file system and boot that from a USB stick and see that it's working, and then install it to the internal drive. So that was the approach I followed. So how do we give Chrome OS the boot? Okay. Before we change the kernel, we need to know how the kernel is loaded. So suppose, so now I'm going to outline some steps on loading the kernel and a file system onto a USB drive in a way that the Chromebooks can boot it. Now, Chromebooks use a secure boot framework which Google calls Verified Boot. Okay, it's a bit complex, which actually means that I don't understand it. Okay, but I think I understand it well enough to just give these instructions which I learned by perusing the net and looking up various helplines and also taking help from various people online and so on. So all recent devices use U-boot to boot, and the fit image sent to U-boot contains kernel, device drivers, and initrd. And the verified boot mechanism requires that the fit image be combined with kernel command line parameters, and of course the signatures which will verify that it's a valid image. Google provides actually all the tools required to do this, and they have been packaged for Debian. They are completely under the free license, under DFSG free license, and therefore you can install it under Crouton. And so now I'm going to show you how you can use these tools to install a kernel which is already with you, and initrd which is also with you, etc. Okay, so what do we have? Suppose we have a kernel, say 4.19167 gzip compressed kernel, compiled device tree. The device tree name, Veyron Mini, is the name of the device of the C100PA. You have to know the correct device. This device tree business is only required for ARM processors. An initrd image, which is the compressed init RAM disk, kernel command line, which is a single line of text as usual, which you usually find against grub and so on, and a file system, which is going to be the root file system after boot. So all these things, let's suppose that we already have, and let's see how we'll make a USB stick which you can boot on a Chromebook using this. Okay. So first you have to create a file called boot kernel. Well, we call it whatever you want, but this is a convenient name. And its contents are a bit like this. So it has 3 stanzas, 2 of which you can see on the screen. So the first stanza describes the kernel, the second stanza describes the device tree, and the third stanza describes the RAM disk. And finally there's a version of putting it all together to build a configuration. So this can be then built into an image tree blob for U-boot with this command mkimage, make image, and make image is part of the U-boot utilities. Okay. So now you need an empty file, which I don't fully understand. something called bootloader.bin, which is somehow required by the vboot utils. I haven't figured out how it works, but here is the magic mantra, which puts together. So basically, you take the kernel ITB file, the image tree blob, which you have just built, and this file, bootloader bin, and the command line. And these files, the signing blocks are provided by Google, and you can pack them into something which is going to be our image kernel partition. Okay, it's a partition image of the kernel, which you are going to load onto the USB stick. Okay, so this is how you create a verified boot image, and then we install this image and the root file system to a USB drive to boot the system. So to install it, you need to have one more tool, and sometimes we can joke that Google is such an important company that they needed to have their own partition table GPT. Okay, so in any case, we need to create a Chrome GPT. And the tool to do this is again in Debian, because Google has released the source in a DFSG free way. And so you can install it. And suppose that the drive is SDA, but it could be something else, the drive onto which you're going to install this kernel image and the root file system image. So make sure you use the correct one. You won't want to destroy your data. And you create an empty GPT partition first with echo label :GPT sfdisk dev SDA. Sfdisk is a utility which is part of the fdisk package on Debian. And set up the Chrome OS extensions by running cgpt create dev SDA. Okay, so now you have now we'll create the partitions using cgpt. So cgpt create dev SDA only works after there's the disk is already set up for with a empty GPT partition table. Okay, so we need to create partitions on the drive, and we do this as follows. So you say cgpt add -b34. 34 is the last point where the partition table ends, and then the size, which is 65536, and the type, which is kernel, and then the label, which you just called it kern A, and on SDA is the drive, right? We create a Chrome OS kernel partition, and we also create a second one which starts at the end of the first partition. So 34 plus 65536 is the end of the first partition, and then the size is the same, and we call this kernel B. Its type is the same, the kernel partition, and we create it so that you can test different kernels if it's required. Okay, and then you can create a place which you install the root file system. So the start point is the end of the first two partitions, and the size, of course, will depend, which is the in angle bracket M is the size of the remaining portion of your drive, okay, which you'll have to calculate based on the amount of data space available on your device. Okay. Now, having created the partitions, note that the third partition has type data, which means that it's Linux data partition. Okay, so we will install the kernel with dd and take the kernel partition and dump it to partition 1, and then we will activate it for booting by setting up its priority for booting as 1. So higher priority is booted first. Trials, number of tries it tries to boot this partition is 1, and we are declaring that this is going to be successful, which of course is not true. So S stands for success, C stands for tries, P stands for priority, right? And then we run, then we make a file system on the third partition where we are going to install the root file system, and that's the usual way in which you install the root partition there. Okay. After this, we will, of course, try to boot the system. How do we boot it? We put the USB stick into the Chromebook, we reboot, hit Control U instead of Control D now, at the recovery screen and hope that the system boots. Unfortunately, this didn't work for me, and the main reason is I haven't managed to get an initrd to work on the C100PA. So default Debian kernels won't work for me because they typically use an initrd. And the initrd is also very big. This is a machine with very small storage as well as RAM. And so there are just too many modules to fit in these partitions. Back to the drawing board to build a kernel that boots without an initrd. Okay. So what do? So we want to get a kernel on the system. We want to essentially follow the same steps as above, but now not with a Debian kernel, not with the kernel which comes with Debian, but to build your own kernel, and everything else should be the same. Okay. So what do? We want to get a configuration for the kernel which is known to work, and that is the one which is running on the Chrome OS system. So you go back to your Chrome OS, boot into Chrome OS, go to your Crouton. There should have been modprobe configs. There's an S missing there, and then you can, once you do the modprobe config, the procconfig.gz file appears, which contains the config of the running kernel. You copy it and install it. We are going to use that config file, right? You move it to your .config in the appropriate place. Okay, so here I just said this, but actually you should put in the correct directory where your kernel sources are. Now this config almost works for us, except that Chrome OS uses its own user space console driver called FreeCon, whereas Debian uses the Linux kernel's console driver. So there are some differences, and so in particular the Chrome OS kernel, the modern ones don't enable the virtual terminals or the frame buffer. Okay, so we have to do that. So the first thing is we need to enable all devices that are needed for the console. So the VT, frame buffer console, the DRM, the direct rendering manager for the frame buffer, and also for the display, for the panel display, for the display panel. And we also need to enable the Chrome OS embedded controller because you don't want to load it as a module. So some things to enable the display on the C100PA are specific because it has a Mali processor. So you have to get the direct rendering manager for the Mali display, and also for the underlying chip, which is ROG chip. And so some of these things may not be absolutely essential for the C100PA, but whatever I could find, I decided it was simpler to enable it than to try to debug which one is absolutely required and which is not. You should also disable module signatures, and you should also disable debug info because all of these build a much bigger kernel, right? I mean, it's true it makes it more difficult to debug, but anyway, the signatures on the module we aren't going to use because we aren't going to use a verified bootable kernel, but we are going to use a non-verified bootable kernel. Okay, get the latest Debian kernel source package, unpack the kernel sources in some directory, change to that directory, create the config file with the changes as in the previous slide, and these options can be enabled and disabled by using scripts config in the Linux source directory because that's a command line way to do it rather than go to menu config or anything like that. And then you can run make old config to rebuild the config file. Then you build the kernels, make Z install, make modules install, make DTBS installed, so that all the files which you needed, the VM Linux, the modules, and the device tree are all installed in the correct places. Okay, and you want to make sure that they get installed under your root file system, which you already created for Buster. Right. Then you copy over the firmware from /lib/firmware on the Chromebook. So if there is some, as I said, some proprietary blobs may be there in your Chromebook, and you may need them in order to boot certain parts of the firmware. So you can copy them also onto your system. And after installing all these items to the USB drive, now the kernel should boot. And in fact, I was lucky and the kernel did boot. Different hardware may need more additional configuration. Your mileage may vary, right? Okay, so I managed to get Debian to boot, and in fact, I was off. More recently, I managed to get the 5.4 kernel and Bullseye to boot. But you may want some more, right? You keep saying ye dil mange more, and in Tamil Nadu you say ye dil mange buttermilk, and some additional points. You make sure that your root file system includes all the basic software needed to use the network, etc. I mean, this is some thing which I didn't do to begin with, and then I had to go back to Chrome OS and use Crouton to install network manager or something, which will enable wireless, or because I didn't have access to Ethernet at that time, and then you install to an internal disk. If you want to install the kernel to the internal disk, the problem is that the primary GPT on Chromebooks has been written in a certain way which typically Linux doesn't recognize, and so you need a magic kernel line command line parameter GPT, which forces it to look at the secondary GPT table and use that instead, and that works. And it was on the mailing list in the Chrome OS dev that somebody gave me this link, and so the moral is, do keep writing to mailing lists, and there are a lot of helpful people out there. David Schneider himself was very helpful, Keith Myers, a number of people who run various mailing lists connected to Chrome OS. You need to take their help once in a while. Building the right kernel is still a bit of black magic. As I said, I managed to get the 5.4 kernel to work, but I have actually not managed to get the 5.10 kernel to work yet for me. So that's a bit unfortunate, because the Chromium OS, the way they work with it, the way Google works with it, is that typically for a single device they don't change the kernel. So the kernel remains the same. Of course, I could continue to use 4.19 on Bullseye, but then some features would not be available because Debian is not planning to maintain 4.19 for Bullseye. I wrote to the Debian kernel list, and Ritesh was kind enough to respond saying there's no way in which that's going to happen, and I understand, because it's a lot of work to maintain the kernel for Debian. So you have to do that work instead of asking Debian kernel team to do it, which is a little bit of work. Many references which I have been giving with the slides, so I'll upload the slides somewhere where people can look at them, but some of them require a little bit of careful reading, some of them are a bit out of date, and so on. Okay. But people on various mailing lists are very helpful, so they will often point out that certain instructions which you find from 2016 or 17 or 18 have changed now, and documentation is always, in the free software world, lags a little bit behind the rate at which the software itself gets developed. So you have to keep asking people, and people are helpful provided that you take their help, right? Custom kernel, so as I said, will require me to work on Linux, so I haven't got that working yet. And with that, I'll stop. I thank you for your attention, and I'll be happy to take any questions. The remaining slides which I have are lots of links, and I'll upload the slides somewhere where people can look at the talk. Thank you.
Go.
It was very interesting to read and listen about all of that effort involved in getting Debian to run on a Chromebook. I wish I could also see a video demo or something of the system actually running. I'll go to the questions now. The first one is do touch screen work? Does the touch screen work, or how does
Right.
keyboard input work?
So yeah, let me just show you. I don't know if it is visible. So this is the Chromebook, and it's running Sway and Wayland actually. So so that's, I mean, that's to satisfy you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
In any case, yeah. So as I said, there are those firmware drivers which are inside the Chromebook, and we have to copy those blobs into the Linux partition. The driver for the driver itself is in some sense free, but of course without the firmware blobs, the touchscreen won't work. What I haven't managed to get working though is the accelerometer. So when you turn the Chromebook sideways, as you saw, the screen did not turn. So I don't know how to do that yet. But other than that, all the other hardware is working as expected with Debian.
And do you think Debian would be able to handle that screen rotation? Is it it's
I think
dependent
there
on?
are some, because there are with Mobian there are some efforts to get these things working. So there again, there is a driver, there is a there's a firmware, the blob, but I tried lots of things, and I I didn't really need it at this point, so I didn't follow it up too much. Actually, I must confess.
Maybe
But
that
yeah,
I mean, that actually leads to the next
yeah, go
question.
ahead.
Like, is there a
Yeah.
large community of people hacking on Chromebook like this, the way,
Right.
say,
So
Android or Raspberry has?
right. So there is, of course, there are two important. I think there are three communities on Reddit, at least that I'm aware of. One is something called the Crouton community, which also, of course, interacts through GitHub. So the Crouton GitHub has a lot of discussions. There's a wiki there, which is mostly community edited. And then there's another site known as Chrome Brew. Now that's not really for Debian. That's for hacking on Chrome OS to get it more capable than the internal Gentoo. And then there's a third community called CHR Ultrabook. And they just want to treat a Chromebook as an Ultrabook and see what they can do with it. I didn't get involved with that community too much because they are typically using Intel Chromebooks because they're changing the firmware. And that feature is somewhat difficult to manage on an ARM Chromebook. And plus, as I said, I don't play with electronics. I only play with software, what you can do from the outside, not, I don't open the box. Though this one I did open once, but I generally don't open the box.
Interesting. So you mentioned in the first one or two slide about Android devices versus Chromebooks.
Yeah, right,
But
right,
I mean, I've tried flashing a few devices of Android devices of my own, and they're
right.
straightforward rather compared to what you described. Do you think?
Yeah, no, certainly, but that's because there are ready-made images. So of course there are ready-made images. So I should have said that in answer to the second question. There are ready-made images for Kali and for Arch for this Chromebook. But because they are ARM-based, each image has to be specific to the device, just as you do for Android. So in that sense, it's similar to Android, in the sense that the firmware which you're going to flash has to be specific to the device.
I see.
Whereas here, in some sense, except for the kernel, everything else actually can be completely generic because it's Debian. So that's one advantage. The other thing is that I think that the Chrome OS team keeps the kernel pretty much up to date. So just before this Chromebook went AUE, they updated the kernel to 4.19, which was very nice for me. Because before that it was 3.18 and I wouldn't have known how to go up all the way. So right now I'm running 5.4x, 5.4.89. So you, because they updated the kernel in their own GitHub repository in an open source way, I could actually first check with their kernel and then make the modification which they have made their kernel just in terms of the configuration back to the Debian kernel. And so I'm actually running a Debian, I'm running a mainline kernel on the system. It's not a specialized kernel. Whereas for Android, typically the kernel would be, something fine-tuned device. Maybe using some firmware blobs and drivers which aren't part of the mainline. But here everything, it's just the blobs which are not, some of them are proprietary. So that you can't do much about, even for the Raspberry Pi.
So you seem to be using it as your daily driver, is it? Is it working well for you?
Not quite, because in between I had to teach classes and it was not yet ready. So I got another Chromebook. This time it's Intel, and I'll hack on that next time. So the one which I'm using as a daily driver right now is not this one. But I was using it until about June or July. That's when I started, updating the kernel and things like that. So since then, I have tried lots of things, and I thought I should give a talk to kind of summarize whatever I have managed to get working. So maybe it will become my daily driver in a short while once it has everything working.
Okay, I'm just seeing if there are any other questions.
Don't see any questions
we
here.
have about 3 minutes left.
Yeah.
So I had one thing reserved for you, in the sense you've been a very long time contributor to all of these projects, including Debian. And do you have any message to newcomers? Or, yeah,
I am actually amazed at the way in which Debian community in India has grown, and it's thanks to all of you guys. It's because when we first started, I think Karthik and I were perhaps the only two in FOSS in way back in 2000, whatever, 4 or 5 or whenever it was, who were from working with Debian on a regular basis. And now it's a big community, and that's wonderful to see. And so I see that, people are working on all kinds of things, especially language. I'm one of those displaced Indians. So grew up in Delhi being a Maharashtrian, so I don't speak too much except Hindi. Whereas I see it's wonderful to see that there are so many talks in so many different languages, 6 languages this time. And so that will, of course, help the community to grow a lot. And I think that's nice to see also.
Yes, thank you so much, Professor Kapil. Unless you
yeah,
have anything last message to add, it's time when we can wrap up.
No, yeah. Thanks for giving me this chance, and I hope all power to Debian and free and open source software in India.